Hey guys, this is D&D, aka Dark Frozen Deaths, back with another Kamihime project video. Sorry it's taking a while to sit and get another video out. I've been kind of busy with multiple things. One big thing I was trying to do was come up with a video for hitting 2,500 subscribers. You should see that pretty soon. But it's probably going to be one of my most edited videos yet too, because it's a lot of stuff I gotta go through. But the thing with this game right here, Kamihime Project, I have found out that they have indeed given us the rewards for the previous Union event. Probably because there's another one on the way pretty soon. But the thing is, I'm not exactly sure what the compensation is, because one of the in-game news tabs hints that the Chinese New Year's gift is the compensation, but it kind of sounds like they didn't give compensation to at the same time. It's just weird. Either way, it should be 3,000 jewels, whatever medals you had, well, should have earned from the previous Union event. And then on top of that too is that I don't know if they gave us a little like maintenance comp too or not, but there is a free pool in game that gives you even more magic jewels, so there's that. So it's honestly underwhelming in my case. I feel like it's a little bit underwhelming, but it's still better than what they usually would give, like, which would be a crappy like 50 jewels or something like that. So it depends on how you look at it. I don't know for sure, but the thing with this event right here, it's a Valentine's event, and then on top of that too, it is water elements. So Thunder is going to have the advantage. You're going to want to break them out. There's a heroic because it's a raid event, and the heroic is pretty interesting. I've already read over it. I don't know if I'm going to clear it though, because my thunder grid is one of my weakest. So there's that. But anyways, we can go over this, and then on top of that too, don't forget there's a free Kamihime you get from these raid events. I'll go over what she does. Also, me personally, I like both the characters for the Valentine's banner, but you don't necessarily have to get them. I mean, they can help, but you also can skip on this banner if you want to. Especially since Seasonal Hime will come back. But me personally, I like Raphael, so that's the whole reason why I'm pulling on it anyway. She's my most favorite character in the game. But anyways, this raid event, go through the storyline. There's like one battle in the middle of all that crap, and then you can start doing your own raids. Pay a little bit of attention to this enemy in this battle, because of the fact that the thing with it is that its abilities kind of carry over into the raid fight too. So that's why I can go over it right here with this battle thing. It's going to be putting petrification on your party, and then it's also going to be putting poison. There's going to be some effects when it does that too in the further fight, so I'll cover it later on. But just from this simple little 400,000 HP battle, you can already tell you're going to need to bring a lot of cleanse, if you can. Thunder's not exactly the best with that, but I do know that you will need to have some sort of protection towards that, so be very careful. And of course, you go through on expert difficulty, it'll give you the materials to start Ragnarok or Ragnarok Plus. I've been asked a few times if it's better to grind Ragnarok Plus or not. My personal opinion, if you are going to just hit and run raids, there's no point in Ragnarok Plus, because you're not going to get that many souls, and there's not going to be a point. If you're actively trying to kill the thing, then yes, there's a point to Ragnarok Plus, because by the time you kill enough stuff to equal the drops from actively trying on a Ragnarok Plus, it would have took you more time than just doing the Ragnarok Plus. That is assuming you can beat Ragnarok Plus within practically, I'd say, 8 turns or less. Like, if you're capable of killing it in roughly 5 full bursts or less, then you're better off grinding Ragnarok Plus. Just start your own Ragnarok Plus and just burst it down like that. Otherwise, you're probably better off going to Expert or the normal Ragnarok in order to get stuff, because you would have to start both of them multiple times in order to add up to the time you would have taken for Ragnarok Plus. So it's better to do Ragnarok Plus if you're actively fighting. If you're just one of those people that want to go ahead and leech from raids where you just do a hit and run tactic, you are better off doing the other two. Because you would still have to sit back and wait for somebody to kill your Ragnarok Plus. If you're like solo grinding, or at least having a little bit of help killing the Ragnarok Pluses, like active help, then Ragnarok Plus is the way to go. That's in my opinion, though. Now, of course, there's some weapons and all that too. I don't know if we're at the point where the SSR weapons can final break or not. I think that's a little bit later on, but eventually event weapons will be able to final break. So remember that. Now then, getting into the actual fight itself. Now, as far as I can tell, there's specifics on effects depending on what happens to you. So pay close attention on all that. It starts as quickly as expert, so you really have to pay attention. But expert difficulty, 5 million HP. I don't know why I said 5,000. 5 million HP. 3 turns. When its HP is below half, it will put petrification on all your characters and poison on all your characters, provided that you do not remove it. And if you have that on you, characters that have that will increase the combo rate for the enemy. So basically, if anybody's sitting with petrification, it's going to do more damage to you. If anybody's sitting with poison, it's going to have an increased combo rate against them. All the more reason to remove it. Other than that, you have to deal with 3 random nukes when it's in normal mode and an AoE in its raging mode. There's no sort of protection or anything you need for that. Now, one thing I do have to point out is that Thunder does have an Addone that can give you ailment protection, and that would happen to be Kieran. Using her can help out with this, so pay attention if there's any Kierans in your roster or on your friends list or anything like that. So that's something to know. Also, keep in mind that if you need to, bring out a weaker Kamihime so you can remove that crap, because it's going to be annoying. Especially considering the fact that it is a stronger poison than it's a stronger poison than the storyline fight, but it gets even stronger the harder the difficulty, so remember that. But that's not the only time it's using it too. Now when it gets to Ragnarok, same stuff basically applies. It has more HP, 2 orbs this time, and it will do the poison and petrification twice. Once at half HP and once at 25%. It is the same case with Ragnarok Plus. Only Ragnarok Plus is 72 million HP. That said, you're going to have to deal with it more than once. Be very, very careful of that. Also, apparently if you pull Raphael, the Thunder version, she will be able to zip and remove some of this stuff. I think Samael is good for removing it, and then Thunder Soul, I happen to have her. They suggest using Kieran or even Behemoth, because Behemoth can remove debuffs from you. So there's that. So there's tools to do it, just be very careful of when it happens. And it will happen more than once. You have 2 debuffs specifically to remove each time. The petrification is very short. Like, it's only like 2 turns. But you still don't want it on you. The poison, however, is 5 turns. And if I remember correctly too, petrification prevents you from doing any sort of attacks and all that too, so you're literally just stuck there for 2 turns. Be very careful of that. Now then, the heroic quest. This is where things get very, very interesting. Throw all that crap you knew about the other stuff out the window. Poison and petrification doesn't even play a role in this. The biggest thing about this fight, if you have 4 surviving characters or less, meaning if your front line decreases below 5, you fail. The boss will just get pissed off and just kill you. It will keep spamming the 100k nuke and intend to kill you. Also, don't even think about defenses. It has an ability it puts on everybody where it's called unrecoverable. You cannot heal. You cannot auto-revive. And then it's also got methods of sip and bypass defense too, so there's no point in like damage cuts and all that either. It doesn't even have an orb count or a raging bar. So this is just full on offense. Try to deal as much damage as you can. Period, point blank. Reason being is because of the fact that in this heroic fight, final damage on normal attacks is increased for the entire fight. Whenever its HP is below 70%, burst damage has its final damage increased. And then, well, no, I'm reading it wrong. It's for normal attacks it's 70%, and for burst damage it's 40%. I had that a little bit wrong. It's ability damage that has the final damage up the entire fight. So ability damage is boosted the entire fight. 70% HP left. Normal attacks are boosted, along with abilities. And then 40% or less HP, everything is boosted in damage. And to make it even more interesting, whenever you use a red skill, your combo rate, your triple attack rate, is increased for 2 turns. Whenever you use a full burst, your ability cooldown come down by 2 turns. When you land 12 hits of normal attacks, everybody's burst gauge goes up by an extra 30. So that's the main gimmick of this fight. It is a damage race. You have 400 million HP to get past. For comparison, that is twice the HP of the Aratron raid for Guardians. Not Aratron Plus, because she has more. But Aratron Guardian raid, like the first level of Guardians, that's double her HP that you're dealing with. However, you're getting a lot of boosted damage throughout the entire fight. Abilities are boosted for the whole fight. Normal attacks get boosted a little bit ways in there, and a little bit past halfway burst will get boosted as well. Now, it says non-elemental damage at the end of the turn because of what it puts on you. What that means is 500 HP per tick. If you're really unsure about this fight, you absolutely must try to keep your HP up. The problem is, if you don't use any red ability, or don't meet any of the other conditions, it's going to non-elemental damage everybody for 500, along with putting defense up on itself. You have to keep doing this stuff. You have to keep going at it. You have to keep spamming red abilities. You have to keep attacking, generally. If you don't meet any of the trigger conditions, you will take more damage. Because remember that you are taking damage at the end of the turns. So that is generally how you're supposed to win this fight. You are supposed to meet the conditions. Either red ability, 12 hits landed for normal attack combos, or full burst. So be very careful about that. And this is the full info right here. You can remove the buff if you want to, but it's only one turn. Now, it does say that you can barrier, and you can also damage cut the 500 that it nukes you for for not using the red abilities. But when it comes to the starter, you can't prevent that damage. So keep that in mind. The start of the fight, you cannot prevent that 500. So the main gimmick with this fight, damage race, period. If one person dies, you can possibly have others come in, but if you have 4 or less surviving characters, game over. That's all I have to say. Try to dish out as much damage as you can. Since final damage is increased, I'm not exactly sure about how much, but I will try this fight. But since final damage is increased, you're going to want to nuke very, very hard. Now, there's characters that can sit up and help you out with this type of thing. Caspar is a little bit risky because of the fact that you can sit up and use red abilities every single turn with Caspar. It's just that one takes up HP and the other takes up burst gauge, so you have to maintain that. And it's kind of hard to do that with your soul in the first slot too. But Medea is a strong ability nuker, and abilities damage is boosted for the whole fight. Paracelsus is very good for normal attacks. Yuri can be good for burst, but that's not until like later into the fight. They don't have Yuri listed here. Parashurama, in other words, Axe Lolly. Good for damage. Don't bother with defense and healing. Good for damage though. Now, you want characters that can sit up and hit hard, hit often, have good combo attacks and whatnot too. And then on top of that as well, again, they mentioned Raphael. If you have her, keep her HP above 70%, she will deal extra damage every single turn. So, there you go. You definitely want to get your debuffs off. You do want to sip and try and do as much damage as you can. Marduk gives a little bit of pursuit and all that, so it kind of helps. Immediate burst buffing and all that. Anshar is suggested. Jahudi suggested. Lug is suggested. There's a lot of stuff you can sip and use for this fight. They even suggest Ishtar. I hate her as a character, but her abilities are actually going to be useful in this fight, so she's not a bad pick for this fight. Also, somebody else is not mentioned too. I would have to say Mammon because of how very good she is when you awaken her. So yeah. But anyways, there's a lot of different methods for this type of stuff too. Sariel is also suggested as well because of the fact that she will give you extra HP when put in subs, even if 0-star. So keep that in mind. Or you can set her as main and get a massive HP boost if you want. But high max HP is going to help you for this fight. But you still need damage. So that's the whole thing with that heroic. Again, damage race. Nothing but damage race. That's basically what that is. Don't heal, don't defense, don't do any of that, just damage race. And that's part of the reason why I say I may or may not sip and be able to do that, because a lot of my best damage ends up taking away HP. So yeah, my HP is not all that high for that grid. But anyways, I'm going way too far past it. I need to go down actually. The usual stuff for the rewards. Try to get the 300 and 300 so you can get the 1/10 SSR tickets. It's like one of the few sources where free players can even get guaranteed SSR pools. So If you want more SSR, you're definitely going to want to try and go after that. Like, even if somebody memes about it or jokes, oh, you might get a duplicate or you might get Huang Long, who we keep calling Meme Long now, doesn't matter. Keep doing it if you want more SSR. Especially since even duplicates and all that have their uses. Especially Addone duplicates now, because the Addone shop's been upgraded, and it's going to get upgraded a second time later on. Now, the interesting thing is that they did not update the info for this, so I'm going to have to go through all of this stuff on their individual pages. So we're going to start off with the Addone. And yes, this one's back. If you ask me, she's a little bit chubby, but still kind of cute. But she could be helpful for this fight as well, for the heroic as well, because of the fact that she gives enthusiasm on you, and that's helpful for raising burst gauges. Honestly, with burst gauge up, like, if you can get some methods of having burst gauge up, decent ones, like Hector's a good one for that one too, and then possibly have enthusiasm or zeal or something like that, and then manage to meet the triple attack quota, you can probably full burst every other turn on that heroic. You could easily do that, so keep that in mind. Now, here's the reason why you're probably going to want this Addone if you are using the event Addones. She gives water attribute, so that's 40% elemental. The recovery performance increase. This is not like the Kaisers. I have to break down what recovery increases do. Recovery increase is basically like Ascension. Now, the ones from accessories, I don't think they increase the healing amount, but they do increase the cap. So there's that. They might increase the amount and a cap at the same time. I'm not exactly sure. But the thing with the Kaisers, they don't increase the cap. They do increase the amount. So, say for example, a character has a 33% heal, but a cap of 1,800. The 33% will go up to say like 43 or 53% or something like that. But the cap won't increase, so it'll still stop whenever you hit 1,800 HP. That's what Kaisers do. In the case of this event, it's like a legit Ascension. So it will also increase the cap, not just the amount. So that's something to know. And water does have a few healers and whatnot too, a couple of regions as well. So there's that. And yeah, enthusiasm does damage your characters, but it gives them burst gauge. So there's that. And her main effect counters it too, so setting her as a main Addone is really not a bad idea. I would still at least have her as subs, because enthusiasm is great for that. I don't know how long it lasts because it's not mentioned here and I didn't get her in game yet, but enthusiasm typically lasts for 2, maybe 3 turns, and it's extra burst gauge each turn. So there you go. And a common misconception about this game is the fact that it seems like it's shifting into a normal attack meta. That's true, but only if you spend on a game. If you are not a whale, normal attacks are not for you. You need large technical weapons for that. So bursts are still going to be very helpful for you, and this is going to be a good Addone for it. Don't pass up on this Addone. Keep her in your sub slots. In my opinion, you need her. Now then, the weapon itself, it doesn't final break, but it still should help out the people starting off, where it will have defender for small and assault for large. Not a bad starter weapon, even if it can't final break. Also, if you happen to put this on a gun soul, which is basically all the ones with snatch, they will buff their own water attack as well, so it will make them a little bit stronger. But as far as I can tell, you're going to get rid of this weapon eventually, especially when you start getting to the ultimate raids, because they'll final break. And then when you get to the Guardian raid, you're going to want the Ophio lances and maybe an axe or two. I'm not exactly sure. Or was it the bow? one of those weapons for burst. I think water did have a burst weapon, but that gun's going to be helpful for starting off. And then now I'm not sure what the element for the event missions is. Okay, I see. It's not highlighted, but the event missions are typically the same. It's like expert, you need R Kamihime or less. You can do that with Medea alone, or possibly even some other crazy little setups, but you can do that with Medea alone if you're strong enough, because her multicast nuking should be able to kill it all in one go. That's only like 5 million HP. And then Ragnarok Plus, of course, you gotta solo it, use whoever, don't even matter if you're off element. Now, in the case of Ragnarok, you have to solo it with wing characters. It's 15 million HP. It's not that hard. It's about as difficult as the ultimate raid. So you can go get that if you're strong enough for that one too. But anyways, the last thing I wanted to go over was the temporary character we get, because of course everybody is going to have her if you do this event. Interestingly enough, she's fire in a water event. Yeah, I don't get that either. But she's a free Valentine's unit, and then on top of that too, she comes with some debuffing, she comes with some buffing. She can instantly activate her own burst. And then when she has chocolate, she will increase the combo rate of your characters. She gets the chocolate every 3 times she uses an ability, or if she bursts, she gets 2 chocolates. It's not a bad character if you want to be honest. She's got the groundwork for an SSR, but just isn't the strongest one. But she is very, very helpful for players that may or may not have a full grid of SSR, so I would actually carry her. And then on top of that too, she might help out for tower. Who knows? There's a wind tower eventually and all this other sorts of stuff. But I absolutely do suggest getting her because she's definitely worth it. And then on top of that too, this is future content, but one thing I have found out, that rumored mechanic about leveling your characters has come out. It is called magic value. Simply put, you will need to raise the levels of your characters even if you do not use them later on. It will give a boost of final damage increase to the entire element. It is up to 5%, but it is a permanent damage increase for leveling your characters you don't use. Get as many characters as you can, and level them all as much as possible. Awakening does matter for it too, so you might even want to awaken characters that you don't even plan on using as well. Just awaken the ones you want to use more. Like, still plan ahead on who you're going to use, because they're the ones you get focused on the most. But the side characters, if you have stuff sitting around and all that, level them up too. Awaken them too. But anyways, that's all for this. More of this will come soon. I'm going to try this heroic. I can't guarantee I'll clear it. If I clear it, of course you'll see a video of it. But of course, some sad things I want to point out before I close out this video. Again, I'm doing a 2,500 subscriber video. Like, I've never thought I'd ever hit that far. I really didn't. And honestly, I've been doing videos on this YouTube for, what, about 8 years? Now, it might seem slow for most people, but then again, most channels don't even get to 1,000. So, there you go. But, it's something I really didn't expect, and I'm definitely trying to do a special video for that one too. You'll see it when it pops up. But, it's going to take quite a bit of effort to do that video, because I'm going through a whole bunch of old videos just to edit them for this video. So, yeah. But, then on top of that too, I started playing Flower Knight Girl on the Japanese side. I shot way up in that game just off of one day. Because of the 7th anniversary stuff and all that, it gave me such a massive boost. In one day, I got, I think it was 12 6-star girls. they let me get all the past event girls, basically, and they came out, basically, with all accessory selects and skills maxed out. And then on top of that, too, I shot up to level 131 in one day. If anybody's trying to play Flower Knight Girl again, go ahead and do it. It's only on the Japanese side, which means you gotta learn how to log into Fanza and then DMM and all that type of stuff. But now is definitely the perfect time to do that. It is very easy to sip and just catch back up. You just need to learn how to navigate the menus and learn how to use the new stuff, because there's a lot of new stuff now. Even characters that aren't 6-star can get pushed up to 6-star. It will take a lot of effort, but they can do that. But anyways, that's all for this. Again, you'll see a video of this event if I happen to clear Heroic. Otherwise, don't worry about it. I probably won't put up a Ragnarok Plus video because, you know, I completely demolished them, especially during burst time. But anyways, that's all for this. More of this will come soon. I should have that subscriber video up pretty soon. And I'm definitely going to have another guide video up for Kamihime Project. Well, it's not really a guide video, but you'll know when you see it. But anyways, that's all for now, guys. More will come soon, and take care.